We are approaching a new year of real estate and wholesaling, and I just want to give you my top tips to be successful in wholesaling in 2023 because it's a new year and a lot has changed. But first of all, if you are new to the channel, my name's Justin You're and I've helped hundreds of people make money in real estate. So the first tip that I do want to give is understand that the market's changed and be conservative with your ARVs. Now, first of all, if you don't know what an ARV is, it's an after repair value. It's one of the most important numbers in wholesaling or real estate investing out there. But basically, an ARV is the value of a home that you will get after you were planning to fix it up and sell, or after someone's going to fix it up and sell it. So, for example, if I'm buying a house at $100,000, and it's a big discount, I want to know, okay, what's the house going to be worth after someone's going to fix it up to modern condition? Like, will it be worth $200,000 after, $250,000, $300,000 after? That's what ARV is. Now, the reason why I'm saying to be super conservative with your ARVs in 2023 is the market is really shifting. So it's so much different than what we saw in 2021 and 2022, where like prices were literally skyrocketing and people were still buying them. Like demand was up and supply was up. I'm like, what is that? Like usually there's an inverse relationship between those two, but it was weird, like never before seen in the real estate market. So now what we're seeing is it's shifting from a seller's market to more neutral and buyer's market. And if you do not know what those are, seller's market, this is what we saw in 2021, 2022, most of the year, is basically you go to list a home, and when you list the house for sale, you get like 20 offers right away. 20 offers, and everyone wants to buy this. All the buyers somehow have money to buy these homes. And you're not offering as many concessions or things to the buyer when they ask. So they're like, hey, like, can you pay for my closing cost? Hey, can you fix this thing? You're like, no, like I got 20 other offers. I'm not going to fix anything. So that's a seller's market. Now it's shifting from that kind of market, which is really good for us flippers or investors, because when you sell the home, you just sell for ridiculous amounts of money. It's shifting from that to more of a buyer's market where, you go to list a home, and I'm like, okay, where are my offers at? It's been 2 months. Like, I don't have any offers, no interest. I'm starting to offer or price drop my house. I'm starting to offer things to the buyer like, hey, I'll pay your closing costs. Like, it's a different market, right? And because of that shift, all the housing prices for sale, they're going down. And it's actually kind of scary, especially if you're new out there, because let's say I know this is a wholesaling video, but let's say someone's going to be buying a house to flip. And they buy it for $100,000. They expect to resell it for $300,000 down the road in 6 months when they have it fixed up and all that stuff. And then 6 months later, instead of being able to sell it for $300,000, they're only able to sell it for like $250,000. Now that's $50,000 less. What if their profit margin that was expected was under $50,000? That means they're losing money. So because of that, you have to understand that because these investors or these house flippers that you're probably wholesaling to, because they're having to budget a lot more for their rehabs or be very conservative with the ARVs, you have to be conservative with your ARVs as a wholesaler. Because all these buyers, they're buying at a lot lower prices, meaning if you're wanting to wholesale to them, like you can't wholesale to them at these higher prices. You have to be better at negotiating to get these lower prices. So be conservative with your ARVs. I promise it's going to help you in 2023. Now, the second thing you have to do is beware the luxury price point in any market during 2023. The reason is the luxury markets have been hit like crazy. And when I say luxury market, I'm not even just talking about like cities like LA, Bay Area. Like I'm not talking about the big cities, that too. But I'm talking about like the luxury price points in your market, because every market has a luxury price point and they're all different prices. It's all arbitrary or random or whatever it is, but beware them. And the reason is, like I said in the first point, with all these prices, the pretty much going down, it's even more so in the luxury price point. So for example, that example I had with like maybe an ARV that you thought was 200 or that you thought was 300,000 ended up being 250,000. Well, that's only $50,000 of a price drop. But imagine the luxury price point where, at least in my market, you buy something, you're planning to resell this for $2 million, but instead of selling it for $2 million, you're like, I gotta sell this thing for $1.7 million. Like, that's a $300,000 price drop. And that is exactly what's happening. So just be very careful in this that market, especially if you're having to put big earnest money deposits down as a wholesaler, trying to wholesale at that price point, because you might get burnt. You might end up losing a lot of money on your earnest money deposits. So just beware the luxury price point. Now, the third thing I want you to do, and this is actually, not a lot of people talk about this, but it's really super helpful for any market to understand where it's going, is to keep track of the inventory levels in your market, or I guess any market, but in general, your market. And if you don't know what an inventory is, it's like the supply of all the houses on the market. Now, the main thing you have to look at is the months of inventory available. When I say months of inventory, it basically means if no other homes were listed for sale anymore, how long would it take for all the houses to be bought up? And that's what's months of inventory. So you can either have like 1 month of inventory left, 3 months of inventory, 5, 6. So that's essentially what it means. And how to calculate that, I guess this is how you can track it. You essentially take all the total homes that are for sale and you divide it by the number of homes that sold last month. And what that tells you is, okay, this is how many months that we have left if no other houses were listed. So that's what months of inventory is, and why it's important is that number alone is one of the biggest indicators to predict where the market is headed, to predict recessions. And here's how you can utilize it. So for inventory levels or months of inventory, when you're sitting at maybe 1 to 3 months of inventory, you're in really what's known as like a seller's market. So this is what I described, where you list a house for sale and you get these crazy amounts of offers super fast. You don't have to offer things to buyers. So that's the 1 to 3 months of inventory. That's what we saw, like insane amounts in 2021 and 2022. When you're looking at more 4 to 5 months of inventory, that's a neutral market. So this is the market where you list a house for sale and it's kind of like even. You know, we have the buyers who are, you still want houses, but it's not crazy. And you have the sellers who, are willing to negotiate with the buyers, but they also realize that, they don't have all the power. No one has the power in this market, the buyers or the sellers. And then when you approach the like 6 months or above kind of inventory, that's what's known as the buyer's market. And this is the buyer's market, what I described, where you list a house for sale, buyers have all the power. There's not a lot of demand for these homes. So I guess all the buyers, or did I say that wrong? I don't know. But anyways, in the buyer's market, you list a house for sale, the buyers will essentially be like, okay, like, give me this, like pay for my closing costs, do all this for me. And the sellers are like, okay, like, yeah, I'll do all this stuff for you because we don't have any other buyers. And so the buyers have the power in these situations. And if you really just track this information, it's super easy to do. You can see where the market is headed, like whether you're headed toward recession levels or whether you're headed toward like neutral market. And this data is kind of easy to pull. Like if you literally pull, I'm pretty sure I pulled this data from Zillow. Like you can find all of this data from Zillow from all the past months, for all the total homes for sale, the months of inventory, and all that stuff. Like if you just pull the data and do the calculation that I described, you can calculate this and see where the market is headed. Very useful stuff. So that's my third biggest tip for you. And I promise, like, it'll help. Fourth tip I have for you. Oh yeah, avoid the shiny object syndrome. So I've realized that a lot of wholesalers out there, they have like a progression path. They have a path to want to wholesale first, maybe then want to flip next, and then they want to hold all the rentals. Now, I know this because I've talked to a lot of wholesalers, and I still wholesale myself. I realize the journey. But avoid that for now in this market in 2023. And the reason is it's a lot riskier to flip houses than it is to wholesale at this moment. So if you have the chance to wholesale something, especially if you are strapped for cash, you don't have a lot of cash, try to wholesale more and try not to fall into the trap of trying to get into the flips because you're like, okay, I'm ready for my first flip. Like I would say if it's a home run deal, like if you find a deal and it's smoking, like no matter if the price drops for the ARV, like drops $100,000, you're like, no, it's still an amazing deal. Like be very cautious of flipping in 2023. Wholesaling is gonna be much safer and for plenty of reasons. Like in 2023, houses are sitting a lot longer on the market, which means you're gonna have to pay a lot more holding cost. These are the costs that you have to pay, like your lender and stuff every single month, and water, sewer, all that stuff. But these things add up. And if you never flipped a house, like just trust me when I say the holding cost add up and it sucks. And on top of like houses sitting longer when you try to list them for sale on a flip, like in 2023, you're not getting as much as you thought. So you list a house for 300,000, you're probably going to sell that thing for 270,000. I mean, every market's different, but I'm just trying to get that point across that like flipping's dangerous right now. And I still flip myself, and that's how I know it's dangerous, because all my flips right now that are listed for sale, I'm like, is this gonna sell? Like, what is this gonna sell at? And I had to budget for that stuff ahead of time. So if you're going to flip, make sure they are super conservative, but overall, just avoid this shiny object syndrome. Stick to the wholesaling, stick to what you know for now, and maybe just track the market where it's at. Like track the inventory, see when it's a little bit safer, and then follow my YouTube channel. I'll be able to tell you and stuff. The last thing that I think you should be doing in this market is understand that you won't have as many end buyers as a wholesaler. And to counter that, to remedy that issue, because it's a definite issue. If you don't have as many buyers, who are you going to wholesale the house to? So do a better job in 2023 of nurturing your current buyers list, meaning like just check up with them, make sure that they know that you're there, make sure that they're actually still buying, and try to like be nice to them, essentially. Like take care of them, see if you can help them out, and also always be looking for more buyers. Always. Like, especially at this time as a wholesaler, you always want to have people that you can rely on who can close the deal, because if you don't have anyone to close the deal, there's a good chance that you're going to be losing some earnest money deposits out there. Like you're going to have to wholesale a house, you get one under contract, you put an earnest money deposit down yourself because you're like, I have an end buyer. You go to your buyers and they're like, no one wants to buy. Now you lose the deposit. So always be looking for more buyers out there. Go to Facebook groups, connect with everyone. Like you can literally search on Facebook groups, real estate investors, Fresno, real estate investors, Vegas, wherever you're at. And just reach out, like, who's an end buyer, who is still buying in this market, I'm looking to buy or looking to wholesale. Always be talking to people, like even your current buyers list. Ask them if they know any other investors that they can connect you with, and just add more, nurture more. Like those are the best 5 tips I have for you. But I have one bonus tip that I just thought of right now, and that tip is get better at negotiating. Now, in whatever way you can do this, whether just more reps of talking to sellers, but this skill is not only important in this market, it's important in all markets, but especially this market, because if you want to continue to make money as a wholesaler in this market, you got to be better at negotiating. And the reason is like I said before, all the end buyers that you have, they're all buying at lower price points. So the only way that you can sell to these people is you have to negotiate lower price points with these sellers. So if you want to negotiate lower price points, like you have to be better at sales and you have to be better at negotiation. And the biggest thing with that is like, there's a lot of ways you can get better, but the main thing is get the reps, like talk to more people. But if you want to improve faster and get better faster at it, you can take like sales training courses. There's like real estate sales training courses out there. There's Steve Trang's Real Estate Disruptors. It's a pretty good sales training course. Or you can get a coach, and I'm part of a coaching program called Future Flipper. It's been amazing for me. They'll teach you too. Like they have plenty of sales trainings out there to help you negotiate better and get better deals. So those are the, I guess, 6 tips I have for you wholesaling 2023. And if you just want help to grow your real estate investing business in general, I want you to go to the link in the description below for a free strategy session. But otherwise, peace.